I watched a video from Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, and I think many of you know what I'm talking about. The one pertaining to what happened at that school with the snakebite center, which that is very, very despicable. I mean, I thought our men in uniform were better than that, you know. I really did, you know. I didn't think that they would be subverted by these agendas that are obviously, you know, blatantly antithetical to the Constitution. I mean, you know, I would have thought that they would understand the difference between a legitimate order and an illegal order, which forcing a medical experiment on people falls under the realm of illegal orders. Because that thing is still not even approved. And you know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It is experimental. You know, I think it's the mark of the beast, but regardless of that, of what I believe it is, what I believe it to be, what I'm seeing evidence of it being, let's just assume, you know, that you know, just putting that aside, the spiritual aspect of it. Let's just talk about the physical aspect of it. You know, let's assume that, you know, we're just talking about the physical and that it is experimental and that, you know, it's potentially damaging in physical ways. Let's just talk about that. You know, being that it's not approved, you know, and being that certain website starts with a V where these things are reported, and that's only the tip of the iceberg because they don't show everything, of course. But you know, you go in there and you look at all the different effects, and you see the one effect that starts with a D, and it's a final effect, if you catch my drift. Starts with a D, and it stands for final, you know, no coming back from. How about that? So you're telling me that something that's experimental is being touted as a one-size-fits-all solution for something that's not even that dangerous. And they're forcing it on a class of people, or young people, that really aren't even vulnerable to this at all whatsoever. I mean, the data shows it. But, you know, putting all that aside, you know, I hear people like Mike Adams, and you know what, I actually like the guy. I think he's an all right guy. But you know, I hear him talking about how, you know, our armed forces are waiting for the approval rating of Leiden, you know, to go low enough to where they would do something about righting the wrong. Well, let me tell you something with that. That there's a lot of problems inherent with that, with believing that, because why would they wait for the nation to be, you know, utterly ruined, you know, irrevocably harmed, you know, not like to where we can't even come back because it's been basically just laid ruin to, which we're very well on the way. You know, I mean, if they wait too long, you know, the Red Chinese will and Russians and everyone else will have rolled through here and finished us off, which they're just waiting to do. You know, I mean, so there's a lot of problems with that theory. And another problem with that theory is that, you know, these guys are the ones that aren't even protecting our border. Instead, they're going out and pushing these things. You know, so how and why would they fix something when they're a part of the problem for pushing these things? You know, when I was in, you know, I wouldn't have even ever have imagined that, people would so blatantly break their oath to the Constitution and engage in something that's this diabolical. I mean, you know, when we look at this objectively, there's obviously an agenda. And I've told you before what I believe it is. And, you know, I wish I was wrong, but I know I'm not wrong. Because when you have reputable scientists, reputable scientists saying that this thing is going to cause 100% fatalities, you know, that's huge. The implications of that are ginormous. I mean, that tells you the whole story. Then that would classify this as a genocide, would it not? You know, I mean, so, you know, my question then is this. If you're in the armed forces, you know, and you care anything about this nation, why haven't you done anything about it already? Why have you waited and let it get this bad and still aren't doing anything about it? See, that's the whole problem with Mr. Adams' theory about the whole thing. They've let it get so bad that I don't think there's any coming back from this. We're past the point of no return. So think about that. May Yeshua bless and keep you all always.